Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper, you are live from the Path.
Path. We're coming to you from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper. It's good to be with you on this. Yeah, you don't care. You don't care what the weather is. All right, here's what I got going on the show tonight. Let's quick work at this thing. So we got an old friend in the studio tonight. You're going to recognize him. You're going to recognize him by his voice, and if you're catching the YouTube, you're going to pick him out by his luscious locks.
Indeed.
What was that?
No,
that's true.
I've been around a while. Yes.
Yeah. Hey man.
Yes.
Hey, Dan, for some reason your microphone That's awkward. Okay, hold on. 2 shakes. So while I'm working on this, Kevin Lindgren,
yes.
Reintroduce yourself for people who don't know who you are. The people on the street who say, "Who's this beautiful gentleman?"
Yes.
And you say what?
Well, my name is Kevin Lindgren. I am from the fine city of Lamoni, Iowa. And, yeah, I do the 9 to 5 thing, and I do the music thing on the 5 to 9. And that's about what I do.
I mean,
yeah, music and work and music, yeah. That's about it.
I mean, that describes most people's lives, I mean, except for that music part.
Yeah.
So here's how you know Kevin. Sorry, I shouldn't have abandoned the show over here. So Kevin, we met, if I remember correctly, Kevin, we met because I was skulking the internet. Does that sound right?
Yes.
I was looking for people to come on the show, and I don't want to say I was desperate because that implies that in desperation I was looking for Kevin Lindgren. So I wasn't. It wasn't say I'm desperate and I ended up with Kevin. What I'm saying is I was looking for absolutely anybody, and found Kevin. I think on Reverb Nation or something.
Yes, that is correct.
Begged and borrowed to get him on.
This sounds like a great romantic song. I was looking for anybody and I found you.
And I found Kevin.
And I found
There's
you.
new lyrics for a song for you. Work on that, Kevin.
Yes, that was actually. So that was. I want to say that was almost like 2012-ish. Maybe?
Yeah. That sounds right.
It was a while back.
Yeah.
Because that was my first attempt at the solo thing, and then I had the band thing for a couple of years, and now I'm back doing the solo thing, and so yeah.
Hey, I've gone to some of your live shows, and they are pleasantly entertaining.
Well, thank you.
I mean, because you don't get the full flavor here in the studio.
Right.
You just kind of like, oh, there's a dude on playing the guitar.
Yeah, check him out.
But I remember the first time I went, I thought, no, really, this is like actually like good. It's not like just some dude with a hat on playing the guitar. It's like you're actually really good. You're good at what you do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I try to, when I play a live show, I try to make it a fun time. I try to make it a good time. I don't want it to just be a guy in a hat, playing some songs. I want everybody singing and dancing and having a good time, so.
I was only drinking Diet Coke, and I was singing along.
There you go. The whole point is for 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or however long you're there. The whole point is to just help you forget about everything that's going on in the world and just have a good time for a few hours,
Well, it worked.
So,
it worked.
Yeah.
If it works for Dan, it can work for anybody.
Because I'm not known as like I'm not like the music circuit guy. I mean, you have to really impressive people come to town, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, but then I hear what Kevin Lindgren. Okay, I might be.
I'm going out.
I'm putting on my dancing shoes tonight.
my velvet shoes. I'm putting on for that one.
Nice.
Then he walks out the club and he looks around and says, "I forgot about this world." Thanks,
There's
Kevin.
so much for me here.
So anyway, we're gonna continue to catch up with Kevin. So here's the deal. He's working on an album. He's gonna put some tunes to wax here. But you know how it goes. You know how it be. People want to put tunes to wax, and it costs a little bit of scratch. And so Kevin's running a Kickstarter.
Wait,
what?
I think we need an urban dictionary to figure out what you just said.
It's for
I
records.
don't get out much. Only to see Kevin.
Well, that's true. Dan would remember this if he hadn't seen Kevin, who caused him to forget about the world.
To put it in Dan terms, I'm wanting to make a record, and records cost money. So
Yeah, that's what I.
That's to
what
put it
I
in Dan
said.
terms. That's to put it in Dan terms.
I took that totally different.
So anyway, he's going to share. He's got a tune from the upcoming release that he's going to share with us. We'll talk a little bit more about the Kickstarter.
Yes.
And you can get involved, and so you're excited about that, and I'm going to tell you why. And hopefully you can contribute. Now, well, hold on, just a quick teaser, Lindgren.
Yes.
I mean, is there a particularly interesting incentive to be a part of this Kickstarter?
Oh, there's all kinds of interesting incentives. But so because the whole point of Kickstarter really is a fun way for everyone to get involved, where you can basically pre-order the album, and those funds are used to actually put the album together, But there's, so you can get the album. There's other little incentives you can get of special little albums I would make for you of different requests you might have. Things like that. Some older CDs that are involved. If you want to get really wild and crazy, throw yourself a little block party or a little show at your house. I can come and play a show at your house for you and your friends. With your popcorn and your Diet Pepsi and whatnot. So.
Oh man, that sounds awesome. Now, what's that level? What do I got to give?
So
What's block party level?
For that level is that one I believe is $300.
And that's totally reasonable.
But that gets you
I charge $500 for myself.
There you go. That gets you a full production show, however big or small that you want, at your place of choice, whether it's your backyard or your living room or your neighborhood block party, or you rent out Wells Fargo Arena, whatever you want to do.
You're using the Kickstarter to book gigs. That's what it sounds like to me.
We'll see. But on the other hand, though, you get yourself the CD and you get yourself a show, and you help me make the CD, and
that's true.
It's a win-win for everybody.
It's going to go to that anyway. It might as well go to my block party.
That's right.
And you making a CD.
That's right.
Okay.
And no matter how much you give, anyone that gives, no matter how much you give, you're going to get a personalized thank you letter from me to you, because it would not be possible without everyone that's helping contribute. So.
Do you have that's real sweet and all. Do you have legible handwriting, Lindgren? Am I going to be like, if so, is it going to be worth money because I can't tell at all what it is, and I might mistake you for Fidel Castro or something?
it could be worth. Yeah, I could. It could be worth something because it's a little third grade handwriting-ish.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I'll type yours out.
I have embarrassing. Yeah, I would not. I wouldn't even promise. I'd say I'll just. I'll throw you a nod.
Yeah.
That's your thank you.
I might print something off and
Right.
stamp it.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
There you go.
Actually, I was downtown. Well, heck, I'm always downtown. But like, I was walking around, and I walked by this rubber stamp company, and I thought, that company's been in business forever. But I mean,
decades.
The day's got to be numbered, though, right, Dan?
Yeah.
I don't know. Every once in a while, I'll drive by and think, yeah, it's the same thing. But yeah,
It's a large space. Like this, they still manufacture stuff there. Do you use one? You ever use a rubber stamp day to day?
I like to cancel check things for like the church, but
I mean, I suppose
personally I don't.
I mean, do you buy a new one all the time, or
No.
you've been running on the same
I think
stamp?
we did one about 16 years ago.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lindgren, you use a rubber stamp for anything?
I do not.
New in ministry, I had one from that very place. I made up that was from the very stamp from my.
I thought you were doing the canceled checks with that.
No,
what the heck, Dan?
And then I realized, I don't really read books, so if they take it, I'll never know.
All right, yeah.
Well, maybe I need to get one with all
easy.
the Kickstarter people I need to write back to. I need to
Put your signature.
you get a signature stamp, and just
Yeah.
stamp it on there.
Okay. All right. Anyway, sidebar. There were a couple articles that I want to talk about this week. So there was one where, hey, they found. You better read this. They found a ring that was supposedly belongs to Pontius Pilate.
Yep.
I did not see that.
I know, super interesting. So we're talking about that, and then I like the intrigue. So last week we talked about Dan. You missed it. You missed it, Dan. We argued about the John Chau, about the missionary.
Oh yeah. Oh, I was sick last week.
You were.
You don't want to hear those stories.
No, I want to know. I know what pants were involved and probably a vest, and then past that, I don't need any more information.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those pants are gone.
Oh, goodness. From the Library of Van Hudson. So anyway, the intrigue around this continues to amaze. So not only is there's theories because they haven't brought the body back and they haven't been able to find it.
Yeah.
But then also there's apparently two mystery U.S. evangelicals that helped him. And so anyway, I just thought it was interesting because we talked about it last week. So we're going to check up and see the latest and greatest on the drama surrounding old John.
Excellent.
And the Sentinelese over there in India. So anyway, there was I couldn't get this washed down, but there was an interesting article on Christianity Today about a woman talking about talking to her husband about having feelings for another dude, and the article it's long, but the story's interesting in that he basically says they set a foundation of kind of honesty in their relationship even before they got married, and so like it set them up for her to have like honest conversations about things that she was feeling about another fella.
Yeah.
And there were parts of it that just kept kind of I thought were really good lessons. Like it's not a glowing story that says, "Oh, I said this and then everything was great."
Right.
But like it was a really good reminder of one, calling things for what they are, having open relation. Don't want to say that, open relationships. That sounds bad.
Not in this context.
Open communication in your relationships, and not just your marital relationship, but like or romantic relationship, but like also with people around you. And so anyway, we'll see if we don't have time. Maybe we can get it to the following week.
I would hope I would be able to tell my wife. But I suppose through the years, there's been times I've thought, if I tell you this, I
Right.
can't unsay this.
Right.
So you have to use wisdom.
Yeah.
Is this something you need to know? Yeah.
Interesting, right? And I suppose like that's a good question. We'll see if we get to it. If we don't get to it, save it. We'll talk about it maybe next week or so.
Yeah.
Because it's an interesting article. All right, so look, we're catching up with Kevin. Here's what we're gonna do. So I was going back to the story. So I fielded Kevin from the net, and it was awesome because like Kevin has actually been a staple over the years at the show. Like every time we kind of moved to a place or we had some kind of big things going on, like we tap old Kevin and say, "Hey man, where's Kevin at? He's solid. We'll see if he'll come in." And so he's been a part of a few different things. So we're super excited to have him back. It's been quite a while since he's been on the show. And so
I think I've played in 3 different locations.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah. Oh, you'd be the one probably.
Yeah, Kevin's moved around. Yeah. So anyway, it's interesting. So it's been a while since we talked to you.
Yes.
And so certain things have changed, and specifically, I want to note that like you've put a kind of a concerted effort towards your music, where like if you kind of popped in and out and did it as it came up, and kind of maybe tried for a little bit, and then kind of got buried in other life type of stuff.
Right.
But you've been able to spend some focused time on your music, and like it seems to me, just kind of reading some of the stuff that as you share on social media and stuff, that like there've been some pretty eye-opening lessons related to that and kind of the output of doing so.
Yeah.
So like I thought it'd be interesting to share, because I think the types of lessons, the types of things that you talk about isn't specific to music, right? Like I thought it's been interesting how you're talking about basically what you're putting into it, and starting to see some different kind of results, and how people kind of think about the things that they dream about without actually taking action to do it. So like you've seen that in your life over the last while.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of that too is just some other influences, like of just some other people I've met, because when you set out full force to do something, like at one point I decided, I've been doing this as a hobby for X amount of years, and it's time to make this a real thing. It's time to try and make this, like a second job, like a legit professional musician.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you have to set out and have goals, and you have to be prepared for setbacks, and you have to be prepared for rejection and anything and everything. And not every day is going to be rainbows and unicorns. You have to keep yourself positive and things like that. But also the one thing that I've learned is by sharing everything that's going on as far as your joys and your struggles and your goals, other people that see that are going to keep you accountable. And I've had some really cool people that have come into my life, and they've said, hey, you set out to do this thing, and you had these certain goals, and you had certain ways of going about it, and you're the one person that's trying to advocate positivity and unity and all these things, and then I see you go off track for a couple days and say this or do that or whatever, and it's a good way to keep yourself in check. When you are open about what you're doing and what your goals are and what your weaknesses are and things like that, what your fears are, then you've got people in your corner that can kind of walk you through that and guide you through that. If that makes any sense.
It does.
It's just as important, besides your individual goals for yourself, it's just as important to have goals as far as the community you want to surround yourself with, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think it does. Did you know? Was that? Do you feel like that was a change from how you've looked at that in the past? Like, do you feel like you've always been kind of as open about that kind of thing, or do you just feel like you ran in kind of different groups of folks this time?
Yeah, I honestly feel like a couple years ago, I started in just random ways connecting with people that kind of had that mindset, and I personally, the last couple of years, have just become a lot more open and willing to allow for new opportunity.
Yeah.
Like before it was almost kind of like, I'm going to sit in my house and play in my bedroom and just hope somebody discovers me kind of thing. It doesn't work that way, unless you're Justin Bieber getting discovered on YouTube. But
right.
For the normal person, it doesn't work that way. So you have to be willing to put yourself out there, and you have to be willing to be vulnerable. And I've discovered also that with that line of work, there are other things that are out there. There's the people that are doing it for the wrong reasons, and there's temptations, and there's things that can come into your world and just totally distract you from why you did it in the first place and just bring you right back down. So I really tried to seek out and connect with people that I felt were doing things for the same reasons that I was doing.
Yep.
And had the same mindset. And, I'm doing what I'm doing for very specific reasons, and I don't want to get off track with that. And so I try and find people that are doing it the same reasons I'm doing it. And that's also caused me, I feel like, to notice other people that are coming up and wanting to do the same thing. And it has me kind of reaching out to them and trying to encourage them and say, hey, I noticed that you're doing this or doing this. Can I suggest this or that? And just trying to help other people kind of stay on the right path as well. So
I think that's a really good reminder, because I suppose you shift from, say, hey, I want to do this thing, to I want to do this thing and I want to do it in this way, and it matters how I do it.
Right.
And to the extent that you have kind of those parameters, you're right. Like, it's if you look at it like, hey, I want to do the thing without caring about how it gets done, you leave yourself open to all kinds of influences of everybody that's doing that same thing.
Right.
And it's easy to get kind of pulled in any given direction in any way that kind of smells like success. Well, it worked. Well, it got me the gig here, or
right.
Or maybe there were a lot of people doing this and they liked it when I did X, Y, Z.
Right.
But when you start, I think people have a hesitation that says, hey, if I start putting restrictions on like how I get it done, is it possible that I'm cutting off opportunity? But it sounds like you've had the opposite experience.
Right. And that's one thing I was just thinking of, like, in a way that almost makes it more satisfying in the end, more gratifying. If I can say, hey, I want to become a professional musician, per se. Let's just use that example. If I want to turn this from a hobby to a job, and I want this to be be able to play music to support my family, but I want to do it in a way that's not going to bring any negative influence to my life or to my family. I want to do it in a way that's going to stick to my beliefs and my standards. I'm not going to do anything that would, be something I normally wouldn't do kind of situation,
Yep.
Then, some people will say, oh, well, you're never going to make it unless you do that, or unless you do that, or unless you do that. And if I say, no, I'm not willing to do those things, I believe, it can still happen, and just being able to stick to your guns and stick up for what you believe in and still being able to make it happen, I think is a huge success, and I totally think that I've missed out on certain opportunities because I wasn't willing to compromise my values or the, the ways I want to do it. But, that's something that I'm just willing to do.
So that's interesting though. Like, can you think of share like an example or two of like where you feel like that's come up? You don't have to get like hyper specific.
No,
but
no,
just,
but yeah, no, but well, like one thing I was telling you earlier, and it's just kind of one of my standards is that family's always going to come first for me. Like, and I don't ever want to like talk down to or offend anyone that is like life on the road kind of person. But for me, I just from the get-go said I am not going to do anything that interferes with my family time. Like if I can go and however long the drive is, if I can go and play a show, drive to the show, play the show, drive home, still be at home at the end of the day, that's the goal. And I have found, I'm still playing anywhere from 4 to 8 shows a month at this point, and I can still be at home in my own bed at the end of the day. Like
Yep.
to me, I will not take an opportunity or play a show if it's going to involve missing out on family time, or if it's something that conflicts with my children's sports activities or music activities or things like that. That's just always been one of my ground rules, is that family has to come first. And some people have said, well, then you're never going to make it. You're never going to succeed. But on the other hand, their level of making it may not be my level of making it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
It's not allowing someone to have to redefine success
Right.
to mean reach a plateau in whatever way possible. Part of the success is whatever, being faithful in the means, right?
Right,
Doing it in
right.
the way that it needs to be done, and then you can at least it is an actual success as opposed to a perceived success.
Right. Like, and it's like, and a lot of people are just like, I don't know how you do everything you do. You have to give something up. And that's just what I'm saying. No, I shouldn't have to give anything up. If I can do, my 9 to 5 job and still play shows regularly and still be at home for my family and still be at church on Sunday, that's the goal. I should never have to say, oh, I can't be at church on Sunday because I have show in such and such a place on Saturday. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't go that far on a Saturday. You go there on a Friday kind of thing. So
Yeah, I've been there. So like I've used to play shows, and Kevin knows this better than anybody. Like those bar shows go to 1 o'clock, 1:30 by the time you're getting
Right.
up, picking up, getting stuff out of there, and I was dragging getting into church for setup and stuff at 7 o'clock or whatever. Stone cold sober, but like tired, right?
right.
But the thing is like it was never acceptable to me to wake up on Sunday and be like, no, I'm not going to make it in because of what I had been doing the previous night. That was going to that does not have the right to encroach on something that I want to do, that I said I was going to do, and that I want to be faithful in. And there are times when that's difficult, but like that's the point of putting boundaries on things, right?
Right.
And call them for what they are and say, like, this is good up till so far. And then at the point that it starts to encroach on things that I value,
Right.
I simply just, I can't let it
Right.
go any further,
Right.
And so I think that's encouraging to folks, though, in a couple different ways, is to know that, like, it's possible. And like I said, it doesn't have to be specific to, like, to music. Just anything that you care about or that you want to try to do to either change or be part of different things in your life. I think there's a thought that there's only one way to do it, but like there's a lot of ways to get things done, and the truth is that like the only time that it's going to be satisfying is if you do it with the right boundaries in place, and you have the right kind of principles behind it, and then even if you don't make it to whatever I think back to Kevin's thing, the perception of what success is,
Right.
your success might very well look different than somebody else's. Simply because you're able to remain faithful in the balance of the things that you have going on and the
Right.
things that you care about,
And that's the thing too. I think from the very beginning, you should have a goal of what you consider succeeding. Like this is where I want to be in such and such amount of time, or this is the end goal. Whether it's the music thing, or writing a book, or losing weight, or whatever, running a marathon kind of thing, just having a goal and then saying, okay, here's what I need to do step by step every day to get to that goal.
Yep.
It could take weeks, months, years, but just doing something every day to get towards that. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, and you can't do it all in one day. That's what you need to understand too, is just, doing something every day to get to that end goal. So
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I have a maybe a relevant example when you talked about running a marathon. So, like, I started running. I was goal was to run a 5K this year, and so I had I started running, and I was running like 3 or 4 times a week in preparation for this thing. And I went out and it was like a trail run, and so I ran it. And it was good, and I did it, and I got a good time, something better than I normally do, and it was exciting. And there was like another one like a month later, and I thought, oh man, that'd be kind of cool. I'd kind of like to do that. And then my son was born, and I didn't do anything for like a week. I didn't do anything for 2 weeks, and then I ran once, and then really nothing after that in the next week and a half. And like the run was coming right up, and the truth was I thought, I could sign up for this thing, and I'm sure I'll finish it, even if I have to slow down or whatever. And I thought, like, that's not that I couldn't celebrate that. It wouldn't feel like a success, right? Because the fact is that I didn't. The whole thing was the success, was the committing to the thing and continuing to work on it over and over again and having it kind of culminate in kind of an end state. To jump around all that and then be like, oh yeah, I ran the thing. Like, well, yeah, but I didn't. Right. The stuff that went before it is what made it impactful. It was what made the first one satisfying.
Right.
And
Right.
I felt like it wasn't cheating, and some people can just do that and they can get up and run it, and I think I just don't. It didn't have any value to me to do it because the stuff I didn't do anything that went up to it that didn't represent the same thing. Does that make sense?
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You weren't like there was no goal, no anticipation. You're just like, I'm just gonna go do this thing. Like, it's just makes total sense.
Well, and the thing was I didn't even complete the same. I didn't even complete the same thing because a lot of times when you achieve a goal, everything that you did to prepare for it was part of the goal, right? It was part of the achievement.
Right.
If you just skip all of it and just like, oh, I achieved,
Right.
I'm like, what I cared about, or like the goal to complete to run the 5K. It's stated simply to complete the 5K, but what the goal was to exercise and prepare and get yourself in decent shape so that you could reasonably not like pull off a 5K, but do it with some competence.
Right.
Anyway, so there's some relevance to it in that. Again, you're setting things, you're doing things for the right reasons and the way that you want them done, and you're not accepting something that is basically shallow or that doesn't fit those same similar criteria.
Right.
Okay, interesting. All right, so let's do this. So we started talking about your Kickstarter. For folks who are unfamiliar,
Yes.
let's introduce them to a tune of yours. You want to saddle up there,
Sure.
and you can share this one. This one's going to be potentially like front runner for the cover song of the album.
Yes. I'm hoping to have this one be the title track to the album. Do I sound all purdy there?
Yeah, no, it sounds definitely pretty.
So you want me to just set it up and play it?
Yeah. Listen, so tell me a little bit about the song itself, and then you can fire it up.
Yeah. So, this is one that I've actually held on to for a couple years. I haven't really played out live. I think tonight I actually played a little impromptu show tonight before coming over here, and I think tonight was only the third time I've played it in public. I've been trying to hold on to it for this album, and but I wrote it probably about 3 years ago, and but it's still a pretty relevant song at this point for me, which is why I kind of want to have it be the center of the album. I just picture it being kind of the title track and just the overall kind of art and epicenter of the whole concept of the album. So that sidetrack, that's kind of a thing that I do. I have 2 other CDs. I'm not really one to just slap a bunch of random songs, together. It always ends up like it kind of has a central theme to the whole thing where you can put on the CD and just kind of listen to the whole thing through, and it's got a central theme to it. But this, I guess the idea of this song is basically the idea of, when your heart and soul are kind of having a battle with each other, like your heart is wanting one thing, and your mind is wanting another thing,
right?
And then you sit back for a minute and you're like, well, hey, like I'm not really in control of any of this anyway. It's kind of like what's God got in mind for me right now? You know, like what's on His agenda, kind of thing. You know.
Yep.
And that's one thing that I've really kind of really started to notice and allow to happen the last couple of years, where, you know, there may be things in my life that I want to happen, you know, and there may be things in my life that I'm trying to make happen, but at the end of the day, it's all about God's timing, you know?
Yeah, right on.
And so in a way, this is kind of a sappy love song, but in another way, it's also about what I was just saying about how, you know, things are going to happen in God's time when the time is right, kind of thing. And so it's called All in Good Time.
All right, this is All in Good Time. You're listening to Kevin Lindgren on Live from the Path.
Well, I don't want to rush this thing with you. No, I just want to do this right. But every time that you're with me, just feels so right. Every time I don't always have the right things to say. I don't always know the right things to do. But every time you look my way, you just blow my mind. Every time. And I know that I don't want to lose this feeling, this overwhelming wave crashing over me. 'Cause girl, your love is so amazing. It brings me to my knees. It makes me believe that the Lord, He knew what He was doing when He led your path right here to me. And one day all our dreams will come to be, and you and me will be forever. All in good time. The time apart just makes us stronger, makes every day together so good. But I don't know how much longer I can go without you here. So I'll just put my trust in time and have the faith it'll all work out. 'Cause on that road that keeps on winding, I have no doubt that we'll ride it out. And I know that I don't want to lose this feeling, this overwhelming wave crashing over me. 'Cause girl, your love is so amazing. It brings me to my knees. It makes me believe that the Lord, He knew what He was doing when He led your path right here to me. And one day all our dreams will come to be, and you and me will be forever. All in good time. much. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, man, that one's delightful.
Yeah. Well, it's a little easy on the ear,
Yeah.
It is.
Now,
It kind of makes me want to fall in love,
right?
which is awkward. I'm married. So
yeah, man, yeah,
I'm
Dan.
in love, right? So
You need to tell your wife about this directly.
Hey, that segues perfectly.
So wait, I can't remember what you said. Like recent? This is something that recently came up for you?
I wrote it about 3 years ago, probably. Been holding on to it for a while.
And it just like had you been playing it consistently for then, or did it pop back up?
No. I basically wrote it and then put it away, and didn't do anything with it for quite a long time. And then about 3 or 4 months ago, when I decided that I was ready to do a new album, this song just kept hammering home. Like this needs to be the lead song. This needs to be the epicenter. This needs to be the whole kind of feel for the record. So that's kind of the whole kind of direction of the record is really gonna, be, kind of what I was just kind of saying there. Like, hey, this is kind of the direction I'm wanting my life to go, but what's the direction you want it to go? Conversation between me and God, kind of.
Yeah, right on.
So, been having a lot of that lately, and it's a very good place to be. Very good place to be. I think. I had a few years before that where I kind of was just in the mindset of I got this. I got it. Life is good. Life's good. I got it. I'm all right. And as I hate to be the cliche, Jesus take the wheel kind of thing, but as soon as you get in that mindset of, all right, I'm good, I got it, thanks, then that's kind of when things start to get a little shady,
Hey, man,
Right.
Kevin Lindgren has nailed the Book of James.
So the last few months especially that I've been in this season of songwriting, which is also a very rare thing for me to just sit down and write a ton, has been a lot of very open, honest conversation between me and God, of me just kind of saying, this is what I would like the future to look like, but let me ask you what you want the future to look like, and let's put that together. So that's gonna be the focus of the album.
That's cool. That's exciting. And here's the deal: you hear that and you think, "Boy, that really tickles my wick." I'd like to hear that nicely done on a recording,
Yeah.
and have it for my own to keep and hold and snuggle with. And so you can do that on this Kickstarter. So here's a easy way to do it. If you go to Kickstarter.com and you're gonna just do a search for Kevin Lindgren, Kevin like you would expect, and then Lindgren, Lindgren. He's gonna pop right up there. You can see his sweet mug singing in front of an old church building. It appears.
Yes.
That's the right one.
Yes, it is.
And here's the deal: I remember looking at this before and thinking that these are some pretty reasonable rates for some of these giveaways. Man, you can pick up the album for $10. So he was talking about that $300 for the live Iowa show. That's awesome. And then what was it, $600? I mean, he's coming anywhere.
Yes.
You don't even see we're on the web here, right? You could be living in Arizona for all I know. Lindgren coming out there for 600 bones.
Yes. I legitimately will go anywhere in the country, play you a 3-hour show at your backyard, your
bar mitzvah.
Your bar mitzvah.
I'm going to plan one of those.
Your Halloween party, whatever, wherever you are, whatever you want, I would come and play a show for you for $600. And at this point, that would fund the entire rest of the project.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
it is super close. Now, here's the deal. You can get in on helping push this thing over. He needs $1,200. He's at just shy of $800.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can hop right into this thing.
And it ends actually on December 12th.
Oh, man, you got 9 days.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. This kind of goes with the whole doing it for the right reasons thing. I went back and forth between doing like this and like a GoFundMe type of situation. But the reason I decided to go this route was because I went into it with a very specific budget of I didn't want anything more than what I needed. Like I figured out exactly what the costs were going to be to do what I wanted to do. And that's all I'm really asking for. It was basically saying, hey, if you're interested in this, if you want to help out, help out by pre-ordering the album or putting on a show for your friends, and I get the money, and then I can make the album, and then it's a win-win for everybody. But I felt like if I did like a GoFundMe, and so the thing with Kickstarter is it's an all or nothing situation.
Right.
The only way that it is completely funded is if I raise the $1,200. If it does not hit that $1,200, then there's nothing funded to me. And so the reason I decided to go that route, other than something like a GoFundMe, is because if you do a GoFundMe thing, you get all the money regardless. So let's say I needed $1,200 to fund this project, and I only made $700 off of GoFundMe.
Right.
Well, now I have this $700 from people, and it's like, hey, thanks, but it's not enough to do what I wanted to do.
With it?
And then it's like, what do I do with that money? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want anyone to feel shortchanged in the end, or feel like there wasn't a legitimate thing at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
So I wanted to do it all in a legit way that people felt like they were still getting something out of it as well.
Right on. And so as I was looking at this, so I'm going to make one quick play for this thing. I feel like this Cover Lovers option is a fantastic value.
Yeah.
So here's what you get for $50 or more. You receive an autographed copy of the new CD, autographed copy of his 2015 CD, My Words, and a 6-song CD of home recordings of Kevin's versions of any 6 cover songs of your choice. I feel like I might do this just for the pure entertainment value of throwing 6 random tunes at you.
Yeah, all Christmas tunes.
Yes. Yes.
For you, I would do it. For you, I would do it. Yes, I have turned down Christmas songs year after year, but for you, I would do it. And the reason I came up with that idea, to be honest, is because I spent years and years and years, playing these shows that are anywhere from 2 to 4 hours of cover songs.
Right.
And then, as time's gone on and people have started to know about my original songs, it actually blows my mind that people will come to my shows and request my original songs. That's amazing. So I try and sprinkle in about 3 or 4 of those at each show, But then I also have people that ask, do you have cover songs on your CDs? And I'm like, no, because when I do the CDs, I'm trying to get myself out there. I want my songs to be heard,
Yeah.
But then I got to thinking, well, hey, that's a fun incentive. Like, there's a lot of cover songs that I do that the reason I do them is because people originally specifically requested, hey, I think you'd sound great on that song, or would you do this song for this thing or this song for that thing? And so I thought, hey, what would be even cooler than, while I'm already, set aside this block of time to make this CD, why not sit down and just record a bunch of covers that I've never actually recorded before, and it would be a special thing between me and that person. Like, not to get all cheesy and whatever, but it's almost like the old, mix CDs, like you make for your little girlfriend back in junior high kind of thing, like
it's the Lindgren mixtape.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. But no, like you said, if you wanted to torture me and ask for 6 Christmas songs, or if there were,
awesome.
Or if you just had 6 songs that you just really dug that you wanted me to record for somebody so you could give it to them, whatever, like.
I mean, I like that you think there's just an altruistic and happy path thing to do here, but I'm not. I haven't left the thought of like, what 6 songs can we throw towards Kevin Lindgren?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if it's still out there on YouTube or if I took it down or not. But at one point, there was a video on YouTube of me doing "Man, I Feel Like a Woman" by Shania Twain, simply because someone asked me to do it. And if you ask me to do it, I'm going to do it.
There we go.
So.
There we go. Lindgren has codified his partying ways under Cover Lovers. $50 or more on the Kickstarter. This is a fantastic bargain.
Which, by the way, if you don't mind me plugging all this places.
Yeah, go to town.
Because if you do go to the Facebook, which if you go to Facebook, it's just Kevin Lindgren Music. The first thing on the Facebook right now is a link to the Kickstarter as well. So that's another place to see it. But the Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, I'm on all those, and I'm constantly not only promoting my shows, but as Ben kind of alluded to, I also like to spend a lot of time promoting positivity on all those as well. So that's my big thing. I feel like there's so much garbage and so much trash on social media. At one point, I considered just getting off of it altogether. And I decided, no, I'm going to try and flip it around and, make it a good, positive place for people to be. So not only do I share a ton of music on there and all that goodness, ever looking for positive nugget for the it'll be there too.
Tunes and Sunshine on the Kevin Lindgren
Tunes
social
and
media page.
Sunshine, I like that.
Okay.
Well, I think you just named the spring tour. Tunes and Sunshine.
I like it. All right. Anyway, check it out. Hit up that Kickstarter. You can follow Kevin on all those social media outlets, and you can use those links, or just go to Kickstarter.com and do a search for Kevin Lindgren. And like I said, I don't think there's any top value better than that $50 or more cover lovers package. So I feel like I'm gonna have to do it. It's just gonna take me a little while to figure out what I want him to play. Okay, so let's real quick. Let's get to these a couple articles here. Hold on, I'm gonna get the camera off, Kevin. Hanging on there all. That way, if you want to,
because I didn't know you were on mine.
You want to scratch yourself, you can do it with at least a
Didn't
little
you
bit
were
more
on my ugly mug
personality.
that whole time.
So it said the ring of Pontius Pilate, who ordered Jesus' crucifixion, was discovered near Bethlehem. That researchers have deciphered an ancient inscription on a bronze ring first found 50 years ago, pointing to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor who ordered Jesus Christ's crucifixion. Harrods reported that the ring in question was first discovered at the site of Herodion near the West Bank's Bethlehem by Professor Gideon Forster from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem shortly after the Six-Day War in 1968 and 69. The owner of the ring had remained a mystery for some 50 years, however, but a recent cleansing and special camera work at the Israel Antiquities Authority Labs found Greek writing on the ring, which translates to Pilatus. Pilatus is a rare name and linked to that of Roman governor Pontius Pilate, believed to have ruled Judah between the years 26 to 36. The ring was apparently used as a stamping ring in day-to-day work, with the governor or one of his officials using it to sign his name. Anyway,
wonder if you got it from that store downtown.
Yeah, maybe so. They have been in business forever.
Original stamp.
Yeah, the Des Moines Rubber Stamp Manufacturing Company has produced one for Pilatus. Anyway, I thought that was cool. It's just interesting to see them, folks picking up stuff that you would expect them to find within the time frame that you would expect them to find it.
I always think it's interesting, all these archaeological things, that like they had it for a while, then they cleaned it, because it's like if and something is like lost, but if you don't clean it, you don't see it. I bet there's quite a process they go through. I mean, really, honestly, even just to decide, yeah, we're going to go ahead and scrape this stuff off and see what happens.
Right.
I mean, it's
like there's such a risk to it, right?
Yeah.
You never know, and you'll be the person that could. I suppose that's the problem. Is like if you attempt to clean it and you destroy it for some reason or another, like you're the guy that destroyed the thing that could have been something fantastic, but also could have been a pile of trash.
Exactly.
You don't have any idea.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's tricky. Okay. Also, so we're going to catch up with our the saga of our John Chau, the missionary who died trying to reach the Sentinelese in just off the coast of India. It says Indian police have said that they now believe 2 American evangelicals helped missionary John Allen Chau reach the North Sentinel Island in the Andamans, where he was killed last month. Chau is believed to have been shot to death by arrows on November 17th. He was pursuing his years-long mission of preaching the gospel with the Sentinelese tribespeople who have no outside contact with the world and are a protected class. Dipendra Pathak, head of police in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, told AFP on Saturday that there are no signs of Chau's body. What is more, he revealed that investigators traced 2 Americans believed to have been helping him through Chau's telephone. He says, we are investigating the role of at least 2 Americans, a man and a woman, who met with the man who went to the island. These other 2, who have since left the country, were reportedly into evangelical activities and encouraged him to visit the island. The identities or the organization the 2 Americans belonged to have not been revealed, though the police chief said that they had local mobile numbers. Indian police previously arrested 7 people, including 6 fishermen, who helped Chau get to the island. While restricted area permit requirements for foreigners wishing to visit North Sentinel Island were reportedly lifted earlier this year, coming into contact with the tribe required further approval. And we talked about the rest of this last week. So interesting, though, is that there's been, it's not really like new developments, really, but it's just additional information available about him. I think there was a sense that he kind of walked in there half-cocked. It doesn't seem like that was the case. It sounds like he was actually fairly prepared for this. He knew what he was getting into. I think like the discussion around the wisdom of it is still a relevant discussion, but some of the things that I think he'd been tagged with about just being a guy like an adventurer who wants to do some outrageous thing, like that doesn't seem to be the case for him. It
wasn't just a thrill moment.
Right.
Yeah.
He had put some work into it
Yeah.
and intentionally wanted to reach these specific people for a very extended amount of time and had been working to figure out the right ways he felt like would do it. But so it's interesting, like there are some the rumors out there that since they have not located his body, that it's possible that he survived and that the thing that they saw that the tribe kind of dragging and burying in the sand wasn't actually him. Of course, I mean, that's something you want to believe about someone who's potentially died. I think first reaction of that's probably him seems like the right one.
Yeah.
But interesting to find out. They're investigating to see whether other folks helping them. Although, like he was with a missionary organization, and that's different than these two folks. These two folks don't seem to be part of that organization, so it's like an additional couple of folks.
Well, I mean, if you're out trying to do some mission, you're going to connect with as many people as you can. I mean, I could see that being, your network thing. You're
Yep.
talking to people and trying to do what you can do, and someone can get you a little bit closer. You'll have that conversation.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
And like it was interesting as I saw a lot of the people that were upset about what he had done and said, well, even Jesus sent them out 2 by 2. He shouldn't have been by himself. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: if he's got a couple, like the fishermen don't count because they're not Jesus folks. They're just taking a man across the water there. But like, if he's got a couple other folks around, again,
Yeah.
it just feels like there's an intent.
And at the same time, I mean, the Ethiopian eunuch was alone, so I mean, it's not like God says only go by 2.
Also true.
Yeah, I mean,
Also
so
true.
If you can use a Bible verse.
I mean,
there,
they were at him. They were at him about it too. I mean, I mean, I suppose you could say, yeah, I don't know. There was some discussion around if you had a couple people there, but I mean, that maybe that feels more aggressive.
Yeah, right. Right.
Here's the guy. I don't know. I think where we landed last week is that like, I mean, for all the critique on the guy, one, he's doing something.
Yeah.
2, for the concerns about bringing sickness into somewhere, I get it, but like, I don't know what your other options are, right? You get like they don't have a written down language. Can't toss pamphlets in there,
Right.
and the question is like, well, because they might get physically sick, you don't evangelize. That doesn't seem right either. I'm not sure that what he did was the best possible option, but I'm not sure that like I've got 10 good ideas.
Yeah, I think the sickness thing is someone just reaching for straws. I mean, they're trying to find some excuse because they're probably the same people. Like, well, it's okay if all these people come over the border into America, and they might have sicknesses. Well, I mean, at least be consistent. If that's your argument,
Right.
Don't cross borders because of sickness. Then be consistent with all borders.
Yeah, right.
I shouldn't go to Zimbabwe because I get sick.
That's right. I went to Ethiopia, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, what were you thinking? How selfish.
Yeah, right.
It's like, no, we went to help.
Bring
people.
your sickness over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't think that was really a legitimate. I mean, not that it can't happen. I mean, you can spread.
Yeah.
People who know run-ins with our
Right.
sicknesses.
I mean, it's why I don't drink the water in Ethiopia, right? It's why you don't
Exactly.
drink it in Zimbabwe.
Right.
Yeah. And so
'Cause
like
they can drink it and they're fine. They're used to it.
that's right.
Yeah.
So like we get the thought process. It just I think there was a lot more heat on that from people who frankly it feels like a lot of guilt harassment.
Yeah.
Right? Hey,
Right.
there's a guy that's actually trying to do something with himself and like trying to keep faithful to what Jesus asked us to do, and he actually put some extended effort to go somewhere to do it where no one else has been successful, and we're like, oh, he shouldn't do that. By the way, I never talked to my neighbor.
Yeah.
It felt a lot like
I
that.
assume, or maybe man, that's not the case. But I assume that argument comes mostly from people who are not Jesus, or were there Jesus people?
No,
saying
man.
that too?
No, it was. As a matter of fact, it was among Christians, and I would say the balance was probably 70-30 of people who said that he was a fool, and that was completely unnecessary, and that like there are other ways to do it. But I didn't see anybody with a good idea. They were like, hey, give them pamphlets. I'm like, they don't read. It's not. They don't have a language that's written down. Like no one translates. No one speaks it.
We're sending radio waves in there. What else do you want? They have no radio.
Yes, it is that.
Oh.
I think armchair quarterbacks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was just interesting. I thought we'd kind of follow up and catch up on that story. All right. Well, shoot. Where's Mike? Mike's my dear epic guy. Hold on. We'll do one, and then
mean
Kevin.
Dear
I
Life
can't
in the
remember where
Past.
we ended up. You got one. You got one more?
Yeah.
You think you're gonna pull this thing off?
I can try it. I've never done it before, and I was gonna do it because Buva suggested it, and now he's not here. But if he, hopefully he's watching.
I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna do it because
I'm pretty confident. The only shows Buva has ever heard were the ones he's on.
But I will attempt it for him, and if nothing else, it'll be a humor.
Okay. All right.
We'll just leave that little tease at that, and then I'll tell you what it is.
Ben,
life
let's
from
get
the
some
past.
wisdom. Let's get the straight up wisdom, and then we're gonna move to whatever Lindgren's got cooking over there.
Okay.
All right. Dear life in the path. I gave away the farm, didn't I? I said it wrong, didn't I?
You did.
This is why other people do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
That's
you
why
did.
there's professionals on the
Dag
other side
blast
of the
it.
desk.
I'm just a guy that moves the knobs around. Shoot. All right, dear Live from the Path, the holiday season is here, and Kevin Lindgren is cranky. He won't play the tunes that we want him to play. Also, the holiday season is here with the traditional family dinner get-togethers. Our problem is our 2 children, ages 27 and 29, don't like each other and rarely have contact during the year. This creates such stressful holiday meals that my wife and I would prefer to simply not have them. What words would we use to explain to both of them that we will no longer host holiday family dinners in the future? The conundrum arises if one of them says, well, I can come for Thanksgiving, so Jesse can come for Christmas, which divides us in a way that is unacceptable. Although we have asked them to work out their issues, they've made no progress. Your advice?
You can't force it. I mean, if it, I always run this to the filter of what if that were my situation. And I think if those were my children who just didn't like each other, it's a bummer, it's sad, it's unfortunate, but the holiday meal's not going to take care of it. So don't do it, or do two of them. Have 2 Christmases, 2 Thanksgivings. I mean, there's only 2. It's not like 6 of them,
right?
It's like the 3 of you. So enjoy each other's company in a way that's healthy, and you can work the rest of the year and trying to other things to get them together and to communicate. Possible, but they have to want to. They don't want to. The hands are tied.
Yeah.
So I would say don't force it. Don't have the meal with all of them. Not healthy.
Yeah. Feel it with any thought that this is going to be the avenue of which things are going to reconcile is setting yourself up for a significant
Maybe a
disappointment.
new mashed potato recipe will heal this relationship.
Yeah, we're going to straighten this out.
Right.
We're going to remember how we all had that deal with Aunt Betty and laughed together, and then it's
Yes.
going to change.
Use chives in those potatoes.
I would think you at the very least send the invitation to everyone, and then if someone's if Bill says, well, I'm not coming because Bob's coming, then maybe you just say, well, okay, well then we're gonna go ahead and have it with Bob, but would you mind hosting one next weekend at your home and we could come to that one, kind of thing. Like I don't think if my 2 kids didn't get along, I don't think I should have to have 2 separate Christmases, but maybe just say, okay, if you're not going to come down, can we come to your place, kind of thing, Bob's going to go ahead and come to our place, can we come to your place the next weekend? So, I think if they're not willing to come, they should at least be willing to host you at a separate time.
Yeah, I think
I'll take a free meal.
Yeah, I think either way, I think right that like you can't. I wouldn't expect that event to solve the problem.
Right.
So just don't set such a high expectation on it. It's not reasonable. Their problems aren't just going to resolve. I think, but there's no reason to cut off the tail either. Do what you can. Figure out the something that can work out that isn't everybody eating together, and then enjoy those. Don't use those as a way to like frame up a conversation and try to convince them that hey, you should feel guilty for not doing it. Just call it for what it is.
Why do people put so much pressure on holidays? Like
Right.
it's the big thing of the year. I mean, I like holidays. I like traditions. All that stuff. But I always think it's a meal. I mean,
Right.
but yeah, there are people who put a lot of weight, and it has to be on Christmas Day at a certain
Right.
amount of time
Yeah.
with a certain recipe,
Right.
or entrees, and I think that high expectations is what causes stress in your life.
Right.
Right.
You can't ruin a perfect family scenario if you knew very well going into it that everything wasn't going to it wasn't going to
Yeah.
be perfect to begin
Yeah.
with.
Right,
You
right.
can't ruin it.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
I mean, it doesn't mean you set such a low bar that you can never be disappointed.
Bring the handcuffs. There'll probably be a fight. It's like, I wouldn't go there.
But yeah. And I mean, I frankly, I think that paint's a lot broader than this too. It's like you gotta. We have this thing that wants to create changing events. Hey, we're gonna orchestrate something, and like maybe it's worked but like I mean, anytime that I've tried to do anything like that, it's failed 90% of the time. And so maybe it's just not the right way to go. I mean, I got lucky on one. It didn't work. I got lucky, and so set things, have reasonable expectations, and make the best of situations without having to like crunch them up and spend a lot of time identifying how poor the thing that you didn't get was. So, okay. Secular advice. Your children are adults and should be able to bury their differences 2 nights out of the year for your sake. If one makes that suggestion, your response should be no. It would only remind us that half of our family is missing, which would sadden us on what's supposed to be a happy occasion. That's why your mother and I have decided to make other plans instead.
I don't
The
agree with
whole
that
thing
at all.
I mean, I don't mind saying, I don't think I mind saying, hey, look, this isn't going to work out this year. I don't mind saying that. And then, like, I don't think I have to put the guilt along with it. Everyone knows why
Right.
it doesn't work out.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And then say, look, we'd still like to get together. So, like, if you guys can figure out some times when we can meet with your families individually
Right.
or whatever, or when you think you can make it, we'll still work on that. But we're not going to try that. It's just not going to work out.
Mhm.
I think that's all right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think you're right. She went a bit nuclear on it, but
Right. Right. Well, because like what you said too, it doesn't. Like it's not necessarily about the day. It's about the concept. Like the whole point is just to celebrate family, have a good time. It doesn't have to be December 25th at noon with this exact recipe kind of. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
if they say no, hey, that's not going to work, then you just say, okay, well, what is going to work? Let's just. The whole point is just let's get together. There shouldn't be any stress. There shouldn't be any expectation. Like let's just get together when everyone's together.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be on the exact day at the exact time. And I think that's the one thing that just it leaves people just so kind of disappointed this time of year. Like you're saying, they try and overcompensate for. It's like this big buildup the whole year that it has to be perfect, and then if one thing goes awry, then all of a sudden their Christmas is ruined. When at the end of the day, that's not what it was about anyway. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, figure it out. Do it in February. Do it in
Right,
April.
exactly.
Yeah.
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 I'm sure reconciliation would be just fine any other time of
Right.
year. There's no
Right.
reason to
It's-
super load it here.
I mean, life is never going to be a Hallmark 25 Days of Christmas movie. If your kids have not been getting along for 20 years, then inviting them both to Christmas and having Aunt Myrtle's perfect pot roast solve that.
Yeah. And if it did, I'll just visit Myrtle specifically.
Right.
There's no reason to have my ne'er-do-well family with me.
Exactly.
All right, last one. Dear Live from the Path, I was visiting a neighbor whose son and daughter-in-law were also visiting. They have 2 daughters, ages 9 and 7. While I was there, her son took the girls into the bathroom and gave them baths. I was shocked. The mom said, that's his job. Abby, I could understand if they were toddlers, but by that age, they should be able to bathe themselves. When I asked her why, she said, they play too much. Is this unusual? The grandmother, my neighbor, confided later that it made her uncomfortable too, and said she has hinted to them both that the girls need privacy. What should we do or say, or is it none of our business?
9 and 7.
Are the girls age? It does not say how old the boy is. It just has, obviously
the
older.
dad.
No, it says the.
Yeah, who's giving the 9 and 7-year-old?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you're right. Right, the son of the grandmother. So yeah, it's the
Yeah.
dad. It's the
The
dad.
father of the daughters.
Yeah,
That's pretty old. Be hanging out naked bath time
I think it might be pushing it.
for 9 and 7. I mean, families do it. Heard of. We got to the age where it was like, as soon as they started going, hey, what's that? It was like, okay, we're about done here.
Right,
Okay,
right,
you know,
yeah.
it's like, don't need to go
and,
there.
And if the excuse is they're playing too much, set a time limit. Hey, you've got
Yeah.
X amount of time to get everything done, and then
And by that,
we're
that
pulling the
age,
plug,
we
you
were
know?
doing full-on showers by then. It
Exactly,
was
that's
like,
what I was thinking, too.
Yeah,
At that
get out of the
point-
bath.
yeah, at that point, if
Let
you're
her
7
shower.
or 9, you should be doing the shower thing.
I'm not super concerned with it. I would say it seems abnormal to me. I think there is a I don't know. If you have to think that there's something else happening for this to bother me, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
You know,
Right.
like I get why people are, where there's levels of uncomfortable with it. I think we had a similar level. It was like, so once they started having curiosity about things, like, okay, well, that makes kind of sense. I wouldn't, I don't know so the question for hers is, do I say something? I would say no. If the grandma wants to say something, or apparently has, then I think it's her thing to say. If she's got anything else that otherwise might think that this is inappropriate for other reasons, then most certainly she needs to do something.
Yeah.
But like on its own, I don't. I think it's abnormal, but I wouldn't be super concerned with it. Any different advice?
I don't know, I had a friend years ago who family said their whole family just comfortable walking around naked. I kind of thought that creeped me out, but
Yeah.
I thought in their situation, it
was
was just
fine.
farmers. They're just like, yeah, it's
Uh,
and they didn't like walk around naked. I mean, like, go to the shower. Or
Yeah,
something,
right,
you know
right.
I mean, and my house, but anything creepy.
right. And that's the thing is like the problem is that our society has been so sexualized that the concept of naked immediately has connotations to it.
Right.
I mean, there's a level of protection. There's a need for privacy. Frankly, I would think that there's some point where the girls will start asking for it themselves, and be like, hey, I want privacy. If they, but that's the thing is if they're not uncomfortable with it, and there's nothing to be worried about, then then there's nothing to be worried about.
Because there comes at a certain time when and this all of a sudden this like button clicked and it's like, don't come near me. I'm going to the bathroom.
That's right.
It's like,
Right.
That's right.
Okay. All right.
Doors
good.
are locking.
Yeah.
Doors, and you're like,
Yep.
okay, fine.
Absolutely. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that there's probably purer ways where, and frankly, it's a bit of a cultural thing too. Like, we're a bit prudish. Western culture is certainly more prudish than certain parts of. I mean, not like. I'm trying to think here. Like the elements of the Far East and frankly Middle East that that's not going to work either. But like there's certainly cultures where like this isn't a thing. Like no one even thinks anything about it.
Yeah.
And so like there has to be another level for you to actually have a concern. Otherwise you just say, look, it's not what I would do. It's like okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. There's cultures. The whole town's out there in the river taking a bath.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, sure. Major parts of Eastern Europe definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, dear Secular says. By ages of 7 and 9, the girls should not only be capable of bathing themselves, but also be able to comprehend when either parent says, you're splashing around too much, cut out the funny business. The parents should act only as monitors. While I don't think it's your place to say anything, I do think the grandmother should. I think grandmother wants to, she can. As a neighbor, it's none of your business. Again, unless you had another reason to think about it, but otherwise I'd let it go. Okay, good. Now Lindgren, you've built the whole thing up here. How are you going to send us out?
I've honestly never done this in my entire life, but a couple weeks ago, I had mentioned that when I was growing up in church, there was a guy that whenever Amazing Grace, tune of Gilligan's Island, and Boover was like, "That's amazing. You need to do that when you come." And he didn't show, so his loss. 2, I've never done this in my entire life. I literally wrote it out. What you're hearing now is going to be my first attempt to try it.
I think it's going to be glorious.
So it may be a disaster. We'll see what happens. I've got my little cheat sheet over here. Gonna cheat. And this is Amazing Grace to the tune of Gilligan's Island.
Right on.
Okay.
We're ready.
See what happens. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Was blind, but now I see. I was gonna do the whole thing, but that's where we're gonna end it. That was fun, though.
I mean, fantastic.
Do you hear it though?
Yeah, no, I pick up what you're laying down there.
Yeah. You know, I could have gone into the whole thing with the millionaire and his wife and all that, but we'll end it.
I think it'll be just fine. Hey, big thanks to Kevin Lindgren for coming out. It's good to see you, buddy.
You too.
Go
It's been a
support
good
that
time.
Kickstarter, man. Kickstarter.com. You're gonna search for Kevin Lindgren or hook up with on a social media platform and do them cover songs, man. Just overload the man. He needs some more variety in his life.
There you go.
Shoot him some tunes.
Yes,
we will see you next week. In the meantime, be faithful in the means. God will handle the ends. You've been listening to Live from the Path.